Hi, everyone. Good evening. Look, we have been going back to back every week talking about positioning me, getting ready for this program launch in August. And I've had some of the most amazing women, and I should have been this side, amazing women come on. And I'm just so excited and just so grateful, like I would like to say on my grateful Mondays. So grateful to be connected to some amazing women. Um, I have Vismaya Rubin in the waiting room right now. She is the chief inspirational speaker, chief inspirational, which is the opposite for motivational. To inspire, it starts from the inside, and from the inside it pours out. It's much different than motivation, and a lot of people I realize don't even really know the difference. So it's a major difference. Motivation is external while inspiration is internal. And so it's the most amazing thing to be inspired. Like I would like to say, I walk around with the joy of the Lord. Okay, and that's an old school term, but when I tell you, you cannot forget old school things and what we learned from our grandparents, from our parents, because the truth remains the same. Facts change, but the truth never changes. So I'm so thankful, so humbled to be here. And I can't wait to take a break in the first week of August because we're going to have our last episode. It's going to be next week. So TBA to be announced. And you want to catch more lives and more exclusive information. Last night was awesome. Definitely send a request to Millionaire Portfolio Group Strategies Facebook page. So, without further ado, I want to bring on this amazing, inspirational speaker. I'm so glad that she's joined the Position Me program, and she has so much to offer to women in transition. So, without further ado, Miss Vismaya, come on and introduce yourself. Let me unmute your mic. There you go.
So I am Vismaya Rubin, founder of Living in Gratitude Today, teacher, speaker, best-selling author. But my favorite role is that of a gratitude gangster. What? And I am so excited to be here with you today. So excited. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm looking forward to a great conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I just want to ask you, how did you get in a place? Because sometimes we have to go through some things. Um, and me personally, I like learning from other people. Like life is too short to learn the hard way, because the hard way will take you around many laps, many miles. So I would rather learn from other people. What got you to this place of gratitude, and how did you find it to be the most important milestone to success?
So you started with the hardest question. When I was younger, I always used to say I was lucky. My mom was bipolar, and people would sometimes want to feel bad for me because there were times that it wasn't so easy. And I remember people wanting to feel bad for me, and I would get very angry. I was like, you can't feel bad for me. Like, no. And I thought about my life, and I'm like, I'm so lucky. I've had so many great experiences. I've done things that many people have never done or will never do. And opportunities showed up for me. And I always would think I was lucky. And I was talking to one of my coaches, and she asked the same question. And I told her the same thing I'm telling you. And she said, did you ever realize that you were practicing gratitude from a very young age?
Wow.
And I didn't realize it until we had that conversation. So I think I've always found ways to find the positive, and that doesn't mean I don't get angry or upset or frustrated. It means that I'm always able to find the joy and the love and the deliciousness. Not always easy, but I find it.
Right. I can attest to that most definitely. I can remember being in a space where I was asking God, why me? Like like I didn't I've not done anything to deserve. Why me? Why am I in this position? Why am I in this place? Um and I was just it was just to a point to where it was so many blessings that I would question why me. And that's how fast and that's how the blessings just continue to flow, where I would just stop and say, wow, this is amazing. And not realizing that the art of gratitude was working in my favor.
That's a very interesting question you asked. Why me? Because most people, when they ask that question, it's when they're going through all of these things that are not working in their life. They're like, why me? And I love that you really just flip that around. And when people ask, why me when they're going through some crazy situations, it's my answer is always, why not you? And it's funny because this January I was at an Airbnb and I locked my keys out. I locked myself out of the Airbnb and my car clicker stopped working and all my gratitude gear was in it. And a whole litany of things started to happen. And I kept, oh my God, seriously, God, why me? It's 11 o'clock at night. I'm freezing. I'm in Asheville. It's cold. And I kept saying, why not me? Why not me? And there was a lot of power in there. And I love the fact that you asked that question when things are going really right.
Mm-hmm.
Why me? Why not you? Same answer. Same question I would ask you back. Why not you?
I think I was in such of an aha moment, just looking at, my background, and it was in such an aha moment for me. Um, and that's why I was just so in awe, like it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Now, I have experienced the flip side of that. And the funny thing is, on the flip side, I don't ask why me, because I've seen the other side and I've seen the glory of the other side. So it's like, this is a part of life and I'll go through. And I know what's on the other side. So I'm not bothered by what I'm going through, because my eyes are not set where I'm at. They set where I'm going.
I love that. And that was the conversation I kept saying to when I was like, why me today? Why not you? The
Right.
universe has your back, girl. You know that everything works out for you. Why not you? And it flipped it. And it's exactly what you said, Say that line again. My eye is in the future. What did you say?
Because my eye is not in this moment. My eye is set on the destiny, on the end result, on the end path.
You need to rewind this when we stop. And that is a tweetable moment, because that was so perfectly said.
Wow.
That was beautiful. That was really beautiful.
All right. So, since we've been talking about it all week. We're talking about positioning, transitioning, and just really looking at it from a woman's standpoint. But this is for anyone. Basically, in these times, it's for anyone, because we've all had to pivot. We've all been through transitions. We've all look and we all desire that position to where we just embody and we just know, like, this is for me. Like, I was speaking to a 77-year-old woman, and it was profound when she said, I've done a lot of things, but I have yet to feel that I have done my purpose. What I have yet to be in the position to live out my purpose. And I was like, wow. And she's 77, and I don't think it's ever too late. And I believe that is always the strive. It's like the end result. And I believe if we're not in that place, in that position, that there's a void, and we're always, looking and searching. But as far as like, gratitude, I think that may be overlooked. How would you see that relating to your right now position?
So we're going through a big shift in our world right now.
Mm-hmm.
Huge shift. We're dealing with a pandemic. We're dealing with people who are unemployed. We're dealing with really having strong and deep conversations about racial inequality. And there are ups and downs going on right now. And I think, when we start to practice gratitude, and I never say attitude of gratitude, I always talk about it as a practice.
Right.
And one of the things that one of the quotes by Dr. Robert Emmons that really saved me and shifted my world was, he said, gratitude is an effortful state to create and maintain. It is
Wow.
not for the intellectually lethargic. So when we talk about positioning, when we talk about being able to kind of like walk around with our eyes open, because that's how I hear positioning, walking around with my eyes open and seeing different opportunities. When you're in that space of gratitude, you're able to, and it goes back to the why me versus why not me, or why me versus the universe, and the universe has my back.
Right.
And I'm not going to say that I was never in a place during the past 3 months where I was like, oh my God. But what happens is that whenever I'm in that space, the power of having this practice always in the background of my mind, always running the show, is that I've been able to find different opportunities to tap into. Like, and I was sharing with this earlier, one of the things I've done is a friend of mine and I, we started a Canva academy, like a membership, and teaching people how to do brand marketing through Canva. And it's funny because I was working with her today and she says, I never thought I would teach. And I'm like, I never thought in a million years that after teaching for 20 years, that I would be teaching about Canva or part of this organization and still, building the Living in Gratitude Today movement. So for me, they go hand in hand, because when you're in that space of gratitude, you get out of the woe is me and you see the different opportunities that are in front of you. And again, it's the practice.
Wow. Now, I mean, you just took me there. Now I forgot my next question. My God. Oh, can we rewind that? Can you say that again? So, being that we discovered that from, I would say, like, it's more of maybe a part of our personality, more of a natural, as far as having that standpoint of gratitude. How would someone that does not have that persona, or normally doesn't take that standpoint or position of gratitude, how can they retrain?
Great question. So, when somebody's in that space of, oh my God, and they're caught up on all of the stuff that's going on and they're consumed by it, the first thing I would say is do something is going to make you feel good. And I was in that space a couple of weeks ago. Like in the beginning of the pandemic, I've never watched more TV than I watched in the beginning of the pandemic. When they told us to stay home, I was a Netflix junkie. I never eat potato chips. I ate potato chips like crazy. And I realized, I'm like, girl, you need to do something differently. So what is the one thing I know that would make me feel good? And getting into my living room and dancing and moving my body. So I would start to turn on the music and dance in the middle of the living room. Then I decided I was going to walk. So I put my headsets in, and if you ever hear me sing, you will beg me to stop. But I didn't care. I would walk around the neighborhood singing as loud as possible. And when people would watch me, I would crack up because they didn't want to say anything, but I knew what they were thinking. But the idea is to do something. It doesn't matter how big or how small it is, but do something that is going to make you feel good. If you've been sitting down for 5 weeks and haven't gotten up, and you know that it's going to be hard to get up, take 2 steps so you can celebrate that you took 2 steps.
I love that. I love that.
The idea that we are the company we keep. It's the same thing. We are the thoughts that we keep. So if you keep having these thoughts that life is hard and life is challenging and life is difficult and life doesn't work for me, you're going to get more of that. So how do you create that life may be challenging, but I still can find the deliciousness in it? Life may be tough, but there's still something yummy happening. Sometimes you've got to create that, even if it means getting up and taking, doing a 5-minute dance in your house, getting up and doing a hip swirl, getting up and whatever makes you happy for a few seconds.
So I have to ask you this. What month are you born in?
July. I just turned 50.
Oh, happy 50th. Okay. About dancing. That's right down my alley too. So I was like, is she a Sag?
No, I am a triple Cancer.
Awesome. So it's not just the Sag thing. So now I can throw that out of the water and be like, nope, this is just for our type of people. Our
There
type. So no, this is for everyone. So I like what you pointed out. You said being able to celebrate the minute. That's how I took it. I know I rephrased it. But making 1 or 2 steps and being able to look at that as this is progress, because one thing I'm getting out of right now is my to-do list. I'm getting away from that because it can be overwhelming. And what I'm doing is just practicing on just being more intentional and definitely prioritizing and saying it's okay if I want to take the day off, it's okay, and I could do it the next day, and just give myself that breathing room and give myself that space to process my thoughts. Because we can just get so bombarded in like, okay, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. So yeah.
It's interesting because I have a to-do list. I don't have a huge to-do list, but I do have a to-do list. And part of what I'm working on right now with myself is that for me, because I am so hippy dippy and so at the same time, I have a focus, and my core value is freedom. So when I talk about being disciplined and not having a list and doing things as I want to do them, I realize that it causes me to go all over the place. So I have to have some sort of things that I follow so that I can get things done. And that way I have the time where I can play and do all those things. So it's interesting how we get to play with both.
Right.
And there's days that I have to give myself permission also to go sit at the beach and put my phone away and watch the water and not pay attention to the people next to me and whatever drama they're having. And
right. That's like me. I'm ready to take a break right now from all social medias and any type of foreseen or obligation I put on myself with social media. I'm like, can I do like a week off and nobody miss me? Nobody's gonna miss me.
They will miss you.
Most definitely. How long has your organization or your movement, I would say your movement, because it's definitely a movement. When did you start it?
So the idea came to me on 11/11/11, but it was nothing as to what it is now. I started making gratitude bags, and then people are like, well, you need to be a speaker. I'm like, I'm not speaking. I was a teacher at the time in Miami. I taught high school for 20 years, and people were like, go speak. I'm like, I'm never speaking. I don't need to do that. And people were like, you need to expand. You need to go. And it started to slowly evolve. And I resisted for a very long time. And then in 2017, I stopped teaching and started building the movement full time. And of course, the minute I stopped teaching, life had a whole different turn for me. So it's been since probably 2017, I would say full time, with some of the twists and turns. My dad got very sick, and then in 2018 he passed away, and then 6 months later my uncle passed away. And I'm so grateful that I wasn't working full time, because I got to spend a lot of time with both of them.
Right. Wow. That was a lot.
It was.
Yeah.
And again, it was They were beautiful, beautiful opportunities because I didn't have to go to work and I was able to hang out and talk and be with them.
So your freedoms gave you that space to mourn, and also gave you the space to spend time with family in that moment. And it's funny because a lot of people, I'm gonna say a lot of people, I know people that are searching for that freedom, while other people are adjusted and accustomed to their full-time employment. There's some people out there that it doesn't sit well with them, you know, and they're looking for the joy of freedom. So definitely, that is one of the avenues of why I created the Position Me program. And I was like, it's so big. This is definitely not anything that I can take on myself. You know, we have to get the best of the best to play their parts and roles in it. So definitely, I was like, okay, it has to be, it has to come from a place of inspiration. You know, that's the only thing that will last, that can get you through a transition effectively and get you to a position. And once you're in that position, you're grateful for it, and it can be, explosive. You can really take advantage of the opportunity.
And I
So
think what's nice about what you're doing is you're allowing people to explore what is their inspiration, and then you're giving them the tips and the tools so that they can actually put a plan in place and then work their plan, which I think is awesome.
yeah, definitely. So tell me a little bit more about the branding aspect that's pretty much the new, is it a membership based, or tell me about basically offer what does that offer?
So it was funny because I met Mylene for like the third time. I met her in December, and she said, "Vismaya, sit down next to me." And I'm like, okay. She says, "Show me your logo." And I showed her my logo, and within 5 minutes she says, "Girl, we're changing your logo." And I said, "I'm sorry." She said, "We're changing your logo. It doesn't represent you. It doesn't have anything to do with you. You're sassy. Your logo is boring. The fonts don't match." So I said, okay. And I went with it. I let her do it. And then fast forward to the pandemic, what happened was she created this group and she was teaching women about branding. And I said, Mylene, you need to start teaching. We need to start creating classes. Mm-hmm. And that's really what happened. So the membership is basically it's a monthly membership. And what we're focusing on now, we just started a 4-week class on Instagram. Like, how do I not just create memes to put up there so that people see them and they look pretty, but how do I create the kind of collateral that people see and they start to recognize, hey, this is living in gratitude today. And every time somebody sees it, they're going to go, that's Vismaya. She's the gratitude gangster. That's, that branding, people will know it when they see me. And what's really powerful is she uses the tool of Canva to show people how to create the collateral. And it doesn't have to be stuff for online. It could be brochures or menus or postcards. And then she teaches you how to set it and kind of go on vacation for a week or stay offline, but you still have your face being shown every day in front of people because you've already planned it, set it, and forget it is not necessarily what we do. We forget it for the time being, and then we go back and look at the analytics.
Okay. See, that's powerful because that's along the lines of a system.
Yes.
And when you have a business system, it allows you the freedom of not to work every day, to be able to remove yourself. And because you have a system in place, it continues to work. And I mentioned that, so, a lot of people don't know what that is. We have people that's formed, like a LLC, but it's just them. So they're a sole proprietorship, and they really don't know that with them being sole, that they don't have the full protections, with them being a solo. So just like small stuff like that, and they may think a business system is, oh, I'm going to join in to this system and I'm going to sell products. But no, it's basically attaching like anything that you do, being able to replicate and duplicate and being able to step away, and you have a system in place that will continue to make money. Yes, sweetheart.
That's a mompreneur.
One team, a lot of team. Yes, in a minute when I get through talking with Miss Vismaya. Okay, give me a second. So,
That's
yeah.
perfect. That is real life happening right now.
Real life, most definitely. Most definitely. When we first started in the COVID-19 era, this is definitely going to be one for the books, history books. So when we first started in COVID-19 era, I would put my disclosure as soon as I got on a call or a video. I'm like, hey, if you hear anything, see anything, I have a 4-year-old here with me. Because I used to be like, oh my God, I hope she didn't say anything. But now I'm fully comfortable. Like, you know what? This is it. She's a part of my business system. She is a part of my business platform. So, don't be ashamed. Don't hide your kids.
It happens. It happens. And that, even Mylena has 2 young children, and that happens sometimes. And that's why when you started to say, I'm going to go away and nobody's going to see me, I'm like, you need to jump into Canva Dice. We can take you to this, show you how to set yourself up so that you can go on vacation and you're still set up and people will see you. And that's
right.
really the power, and talk about gratitude. Like, I never in a million years thought that I would have created this or been part of this organization with her. So it's been pretty awesome.
Yeah. So, what type of, when you say gratitude, do you look at it as for me, I look at it as a type of attraction. Like it's the laws. It's like gratitude is one of my principles. And when I get away from it, I can tell when I get away from it. I get into stuff that's like, I'm the victim, So when I bring the gratitude back, I free myself from being the victim. I free myself from blaming, to okay, let me look at myself. How did I contribute to this? What part of the role did I play in this? So that way I can transform from being the victim to saying, okay, well, this is the role that I played. So if I had my hand in this, how can I fix it? So that helps me to mend everything back together, and it helps me to focus and stay on that same path, and that's my path is my destiny. So I know that has helped me.
I agree with you. Absolutely. I think, what we focus on expands. And if you want to focus on, I woke up this morning and I stubbed my toe, and then I got in the car and I hit the red light and then I was late for work, and today's a bad day. And it's sometimes something as simple as I stubbed my toe. Mm-hmm. You'll hear people say, well, that's it. Today's a bad day.
Right.
Why do you make it that way? I stubbed my toe because I stubbed my toe. That doesn't mean the whole day is ruined. And again, it's and you hit the nail on the head. It's about a practice. It's about bringing yourself back. We're human beings. We're going to be sad, and we're going to be angry, and we're going to be frustrated, and we're going to tap into our humanity where we go into victim mode and all of those things. But is that where we want to spend our time? No,
right.
Because it doesn't make us happy.
Yeah.
So how do we pull ourselves out? By looking for those moments that bring us gratitude.
Not only does it not make us happy, it does not produce good fruit.
Correct.
It does not produce. It produces something, but does not produce good fruit. Definitely.
Right. Again, what you focus on expands. So if I'm talking and thinking only about the negative, it's also rewiring our brain to look for all those things that are negative, that are not working, that are bad, that are going to give us proof that we're right.
Wow. validating it.
Absolutely.
Wow.
It was funny, you know, I took a day off like you were talking about this Sunday, and I went to the beach, and I'm sitting at the beach, and the day was magnificent. It was absolutely beautiful. And I'm jamming in my music, and I'm having my own party, and I'm watching the people next to me, and this guy comes and he puts beach chairs right next to them. And they're not following 6 feet, and I could find myself starting to be like, "Are you kidding me?" And I'm like, Vismaya, this is none of your business. Like, mind your business. So the people that were laying down right there looked up, and they saw that the chairs were there, and they were a little upset. So I said to the woman, I could just move it out of the way. And she's like, no, the man that put them there has to come and move them. And I'm watching this situation, and I'm watching, and she's getting more frustrated and more angry and more upset. And I'm thinking to myself, how often do we have to, you know, do we allow our own satisfaction and joy and happiness? How often do we sacrifice that for the desire to be right?
Wow.
And I'm watching, and I'm getting, you know, a little, and I finally said, mind your own business. And I let them deal with their thing. And I sat there and I watched the ocean. I really had to physically force myself to not turn my head. And I do every once in a while, but it's the same thing. It's like, do I want to pay attention to that silliness? Or find the things that make me happy, that make me feel good, that life is juicy. I just need to find those moments.
Was this your friend, or you didn't know this woman?
No, if I knew them, I would have said something. But I was
thinking, like, no, this could be somebody you knew.
No. I said, you know, listen, why don't you just move the chair? And she's like, I need the man to move it. And I was like, at first, I'm like, that would never have occurred to me, like, to make him come down from. And then I was like, does that mean I don't value myself enough because I didn't want him to come move it? And I thought, and then I'm watching her still get so upset and not enjoy the ocean in front of her and spend the 10 minutes in the water with her boyfriend. And he needs to move it. And I was like, no, it makes me smart.
I've seen that before. And for some reason, some people are wired and they thrive off of that type of energy, which is weird. I don't know. I'd be like, oh, I honestly like feel sorry for people like that. And I'm like, Lord, what happened in their childhood? I feel so sorry.
It was a good lesson for me. Like, how often do I do that? All she had to either do was move the one chair or pull herself away 3 feet. She would have been away from them. And it was such a great lesson. Like, how often do I allow myself to sit with my feet planted on the ground and indignant because I need to be right, or I need to, you know, like you said, victim mode, or feel sorry for myself and stay right there, or do something about it and move out of that space.
Right. Yeah. It's like we always have a choice, you know? So I definitely believe in clearing blocks, dealing with things that had not been dealt with. I definitely feel like in order to really get into a higher space and elevate yourself, you just can't like, okay, I'm gonna forget about it. I'm just gonna move. And I think I practiced that a lot in my life. That's why I can speak from that. Just kind of pushing things to the back burner and just keep going. Eventually, you're gonna need to come to a place to deal with it. That's if you really want to reach a higher plateau. You know,
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. Human beings walk around with baggage, and they don't realize why they're so heavy and why it's so hard to walk and why it's so hard to move. And we peel a layer off, and we get to a good space. And then we come up with that wall again, and then we get to pull off another layer, and then we get to another space, and we get to peel. It's like an onion. So we are like onions, where we get to keep peeling off and peeling off and peeling off layers. And I agree. One of the questions that I ask myself is, when I get into that space of, you know, why and what, if I believe that I was enough, would I let this affect me? How would I be behaving, or how would I be feeling if I believed that I was enough? And then I'll sit down and I'll journal, and all of a sudden, I feel it goes, because I can get to the issue. Like, this is where I felt that way the first time.
Wow, I like the way you just said a major thing. It's like being enough. Because if you're enough, you just like you're above it, and you just it didn't come for you. It or wasn't, I don't know, intentional maybe, or
Well, or it came from the past, like it came from something else, or it's not about me. And thinking about what this big movement you're about to create or you're creating, why is it that people don't transition or take that step, or why won't they jump to do the thing that brings them light and lights them up and excites them? Because sometimes there's fear, there's old beliefs, there's people talking,
mm,
old talking patterns in their ears from way back when.
mm. Wow. Yeah, yeah, fear is hell. Fear is hell. And I think fear is the worst. And people translate fear is like the opposite of happiness, of freedom, of faith, of anything. It's like the total opposite. So I was like, if you can conquer fear, then you're fearless, you're freedom, you get to experience life.
I think sometimes the fear of doing something is more challenging than doing the actual thing you're fearful of doing. That has been my experience. I want to do something so badly, and then I'm like, you can't do that because of XYZ, and then the anticipation and that it holds you, it holds you for, and then you finally just have to say, okay, I'm going to do it.
So what was the most thing that you would say that you've not been fearful to do, but do you have like one of those fears that just kind of sit with you, and it lives with you, and you acknowledge it, but it's there?
I don't know if I can answer that. I can't answer that right now because I don't know I don't know, because usually I have enough people who are like, come on. I have enough support system where people are like, that's just your, the inner mean girl talking. What is it you want to do? Why don't you want to do it? Or how can you do it? So is there something that holds me back? It's funny because the other day I had to get on and I taught a class, like a mini Canva lesson. And I don't want to say petrified, because I wasn't petrified. I've been on camera 1,000 times. I was nervous. I was fearful because I was a teacher for 20 years and I know how to teach things and show things. But this was a totally new arena and I wanted to try it and see how it worked. And this is probably not the best example because I did it anyways, even though I was a little nervous and fearful. I did it. I don't think I let that stop me. I don't really think I play there.
Okay. I have a total opposite. I have my fear motivated me to do. You ever heard of that type of fear? The fear that motivates you to keep going.
So what was the fear?
I had a fear of being broke. And because of that fear, I would keep going, keep hustling, and keep doing whatever it was, because I never wanted to experience not having. Because I know I knew what that looked like.
When you say it that way, I do have. There is something probably that holds me back from some things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I want to share it on camera.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It doesn't. Let's be transparent, because I am a gratitude gangster, and that's okay. So I think, I watched my mom in so many relationships where she was so dependent on people that I remember saying from the time I was a little girl, I will never depend on a man ever in my life. And I think that thought has kept me single for a very long time, because now it's different. Now it's that I don't have to depend on a man that way, But I think that conversation has held me back. So I'm still working on that area. So if anyone knows any Latin Jewish single men, right here.
I think I got one for you.
Send them my way.
No, I had this Brazilian. I don't know if you're gonna stick with Latin, but he's from Brazil, and he was nice looking and he could fix stuff. He's
Is
a
he
work.
Jewish?
I I don't know. I don't know about that, but he told me to let. He said he was single, ready to mingle, and to let him know. Well, it's like, okay, I'll keep you in mind. I got his phone number, so I'll make sure you need to call him. I think he's a really nice guy. And he's good with his hands, so that's a plus.
So that's something I think that, and I don't know if it holds me back, but it motivated me also to push forward so that I could do many different things, and learn many different things and have different skills. And so
that's funny.
The fear of depending on somebody so much has kept me single, but it also gave me the ability I could go back and teach tomorrow if I wanted to. I'm a massage therapist. I bartended before, so I have different things that if I needed. Now I have Canva in my pocket and social media marketing, and I'm a keynote speaker. So I have different things that I can fall back on so that I never have to be dependent on anybody. And
exactly. I like the art of transparency, because once you open yourself up, you give permission to others to open up, with something as well.
I think one of the things I preach on my platform the most is that I am not by any means, I do not wake up and go, I'm so excited to be alive. I say it every single day. Today is going to be a magical day, because I want to really train my brain to start looking for those magical moments. But I don't feel that way when I wake up. I don't wake up and go, thank you, God, for another day. That's not my energy when I wake up. I wake up and I'm like, all right, let's, and I put the effort into doing it. And I'm not a Pollyanna. I, do get angry. I do get upset. I do get frustrated. I'm not perfect. But the blessing has been that because I have these practices in place, and whether I am talking about them, they're still running the show in the back of my mind. When I get upset or frustrated or worry about something, I have a whole team of people who are like, Vismaya, why do you worry? You know the universe has your back. Say that to me because they have heard me say it so many times. And that's how it works. The universe has my back, and things work out for me, and it's magical.
That's an amazing support system that you have, a team of people that are in line with you and your vision. They know who you are, they know where you're going, and they're able to reaffirm even when you're off track. They're able to reaffirm you. I think that's amazing.
But you got to put yourself around those people who will say, hey, good. Not ones that are going to, fill you up with helium and send you in the sky, like high in the sky, but ones who will keep you grounded and at the same time tell you when to knock it off and when to start to refocus and get back on your path.
Yeah. That's good. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. So have you done any workshops? Have you gotten to workshops? Because you were a teacher, so I know you know all about lesson plans and all that stuff. So have you ever did a gratitude, some type of workshop where people can work past or work, I don't know.
I did a 5-week class in the beginning of the year, like in March, right before the pandemic or right before we were in quarantine. I did a 5-week class. I haven't done it again. I am still working on putting, I would love to do it again because it was really powerful for not just the participants, but it's also powerful for me because we learn what we teach and we teach what we need to learn. I've taught the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. I used to create curriculum I would teach that in my classroom. So I taught that curriculum. And then I've taught to adults the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, like a crash course.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So I'm excited. I'm excited. And I can't wait to see the results of everything that's about to go down with positioning me. And I can't wait to hear the testimonials that's going to come from it.
Super excited.
Yeah, definitely.
Is that the little one? Let's see her.
Yep, that's her. She's been making all type of jewelry. Show me jewelry.
Oh, how beautiful.
Beautiful. Now, you want to show her your necklace? And her name today is the Queen. That's what
The
she told me.
Queen.
The Queen. Her name is Queen, but she said today her name is the Queen.
The Queen. Hi.
Say hi. Hi.
How are you?
She's going now. Yes. So, do you have any final thoughts for us?
Gratitude is a practice. It is not a perfect. And it is like Dr. Robert Emmons said, gratitude is a difficult state to create and maintain. It is not for the intellectually lethargic. Be kind to yourself, give yourself a break, and create those moments of gratitude so that at the end of the day, you have a gratitude win no matter how your day is going.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I can't wait to replay this one.
It was my pleasure. I'm so happy we had the opportunity to chat a little more.
Yeah, me too. So I will talk with you soon.
Yep.
Not in front of the cameras. Have a good night. Bye.
Everyone. Bye.